Hello and welcome to this episode 4 of the Phileas Podcast. My name is Sylvie and I am a French expat living in York, in North Yorkshire, England. And you can find me on various social media, especially Instagram as Sylvie_Phileas Yarns, and I do have a hand-dyed yarn business which is called Phileas Yarns, which is why the podcast is simply called Phileas Podcast. And you can find the link for the Etsy shop as well as all the social media. You can find me and all everything down below in the description box. This podcast is about knitting and sewing mostly, a little bit of traveling now and then, not so much on this episode, unlike last one. Episode 3 was quite heavy on taking you out and about, but not so much this month, but I'll tell you why later on, don't worry. We're going a little bit somewhere, but anyway, so yes, and sometime, not in this episode again, but sometime we come to other crafts, textile crafts mostly. Anyway, I wanted to start by thanking everybody for being here with me and watching this episode, and it makes me so happy that there's more and more of you watching this podcast, and you seem to enjoy it. I'm so pleased to read every comments that come by and seeing all your thumbs ups or likes and everything. So yeah, please feel free to leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, or subscribe to the channel if you like what you see and you don't want to miss the next episode. So yeah, there's not much to go on about this introduction. I'm getting there eventually, I'm learning. Just as well as links to myself, there'll be links and notes about everything I talk on the podcast, patterns and yarns and everything. All the reference will be linked down below in the description box, and there will be also little timestamps note also down below, so if you wanna skip some subjects, please do so. One thing though, usually on in each episode there's this section, Parlez-vous knitting, which I do. I started doing it for the French viewers, as the French version of this podcast for the French speaking viewers is about showing them and introducing them to the world of knitting from especially a British point of view, since this is where I evolve. But this month I'm really going into a vocabulary lesson, so I don't think it's necessary that I do it in English, because it's pointless. It is literally me translating knitting terms into French around the theme, which is the cast on techniques. So yeah, so this episode is probably going to be a lot shorter than the French version of it, as you probably will be able to tell if you look at on the homepage of the videos. It's going to be like a good chunk less of time on this episode. But anyway, so yeah, so just I'm just gonna roll on, and there won't be any Parlez-vous knitting section, but at least that you will know why. Okay then, here we go. To start with the finished subjects, I would like to introduce you to somebody special. So Winston, who are you? Who designed you? And which is this lovely yarn you're knitting with? That is gorgeous. You look fantastic. love your mane. That is just brilliant. Tell us, Winston. Tell us about your mane. And tell us about the other details, maybe on your, your eyes and cute little nose and cheeky little smile. But Winston, you've got a cheeky kind of, head on the side where I've got a feeling I may have mucked up the short rows when knitting you, didn't I? So Winston, are you knitting in bits, or are you knitting in one piece? Because it doesn't look like there's any seam anywhere. Look at that. And can you tell us a little bit more about your lovely sweater as well, please? You look so dapper in it. So very dapper. Well, okay then. Well, thanks for swinging by and come see us, Winston. And it's been lovely talking to you. And all the finished objects for you today is... This is my Hayward sweater, which if you have followed this podcast since episode 1, I actually casted it on episode 1 on my way to Norway. And then so let's go back to the beginning. So this sweater is a pattern by Julie Hoover, who designed this originally for a Brooklyn Tweed collection, the BT Fall 12. I'm flipping the pages to find my notes. There we are. So BT Fall 12, and it is a pattern knitting in pieces, and it's pretty much stockinette stitch. It's very basic structure, so I thought it'd be lovely to cast it on and taking it as my travel knitting instead of socks. I took a break from knitting socks on my travels on this particular occasion, and yes, so I've cast it on just before going to Norway back in early May, and yes, so I did quite a lot then, and then I took care either when I was away traveling, either in or outside this country, or just out socializing, so knit nights or meeting with the knitting pal for brunch, etc., etc., down to actually simming it together. I did that, well, half of it at least, while having tea and cake with my pal Helen the other day. So yeah, definitely a portable project. What do I need to do to tell you about it? So yeah, funny story. The yarn is John Arbon Textile Harvest Hues in the Juniper colorway. Just as a final reminder, Harvest Hues is a 65% dyed Falkland Merino, 35% Swartballs of Exmoor. I bought this particular yarn at Yarndale 2016, so that's nearly a 3-year-old stash that I've just knit, and I found it in the bargain basket because they had the skein winder got a little bit crazy, and the machine skeined 150 gram skeins instead of the standard 100. So there was nothing wrong with the yarn, it's just the skein were not standard, so it got into the bargain basket. So I think I got it for that cheap. I kind of wonder if it wasn't £10 a skein, 150-gram skein, so it cost me 20 quid in total. It might be 30 if it was 15, but it was really was nothing. And this is what I've got left. I've got 118 gram left of yarn, so effectively you could definitely, this fits in 200 grams, a couple of skeins of fingering weight. And yeah, so if this 300 gram cost me 20 quid, 200 grams, I mean, this is the bargain sweater, definitely bargain sweater. So there's that. Just reading my notes, see if I've forgotten, but I didn't take many notes because I thought I'd trust my little brain to remember what I need to tell you. Well, we'll see. I do like the general feel of this sweater. I think I'm not used to wearing tops, short sleeve sweater and tops, so I think it's gonna take me a while to get round it. I did wear it once a couple of days ago. It was the first big day out because it is quite recently finished. So yeah, I do like the general fit of this. In the little details, I do like the no hem situation. Basically what you do is you knit just a couple of rows of garter stitch so that it doesn't crazy roll, you know, prevents to roll. And I think the fact that it is seamed as well gives it structure here, so I quite like the bottom. However, I am not too big on the hem, on the neckline, sorry, because basically you do all the pieces, you block them, you seam them together, and then you pick up stitches to do the neckline, which is a rolled hem. So you just knit a few rows of stockinette stitch and then you bind off loosely, but basically what it does is that it rolls, and it rolls to reveal the can you see? Yes, to the edge where I picked up stitches. I mean, to be honest, I don't know, I'm not too sure about it. Now look at it, I'm not sure if it's bothering me that much. I just need to get used to it. The fact that it just rolls back, I mean, it looks quite clean, so I might just need to make sure this doesn't stick out though. That's my end woven in. So yeah, this is pretty good. I cannot remember which size I've knitted. This is one of the things I forgot to take note of. Well, you live and learn. I'll do better next time. I'm gonna pass it on for you, put it on. It's 30 degrees outside, so I'm gonna be cooking for a couple of minutes, but at least you will see what it looks like. So you see, it's actually pretty cool. I do like it. I do like it. Obviously it's not one, well, you know, because it's got like bat wings kind of thing, it's, you know, it's, I think it's really a case of getting used to it. And yeah, see the neckline, it's just and it just, yeah, the fact that the back keeps sticking up as well is not great. So yeah, I think I need to wear it a few more times and see if I need to do something about this neckline or not. But yeah, thumbs ups pretty much. And finally, a last finish objects. This is a pair of socks, because after I finished my Hayward cardigan, I needed to have another pair of socks as a travel project. I will get back to it in a minute, but I went to France to visit my family. Well, I was there last week, so let's say I left 2 weeks ago to come back for a week, to come back last week. So I think when I left I had one cuff and a bit done, and I came home and I had only a toe and a heel to knit on the second sock, so they were pretty much done in a week's time, which was nice. What do I need to tell you? So yes, the yarn is my own hand dyed, and this speckly stripy number is a new colorway. This is, I usually do a test skein when I do new colorways, especially in the Rambler collection. This is the Rambler collection, which is the Rambler yarn is to 75%, no, sorry, 80% blue fest Leicester, 20% nylon, and yeah, I do like to try a combo, see if it works out, see if I like, and knit it up to see if I like the way it knits up, which is very important to me. So sorry, I need to readjust myself. So yeah, so I this was the test skein for a new colorway, which will come next month, at the end of next month, or this month, depending, September. I'm not sure when this podcast will be out or when you'll be able to watch it. So end of September, and this colorway is called Valley of the Kings. So do not look in the shop right now. It's not going to be up until after Yarndale, basically, if there's any left. And for the contrast, I've used Explorer sock heels and toes, which are the minis, in the Fjord colorway, which I think is absolutely fantastic with it. Very pleased with that. The pattern is the exact same that I did my Berliner socks from last podcast. This is a cuff down sock with afterthought heel with gusset. I kind of mix and match a few tutorials of putting a gusset on afterthought heel on my previous pair of socks, and so I thought I'd do that again to try to consolidate my fiddle. Still a few things to be done better, if I'm honest. I think when I pick up stitches, let's see, when I do the tiny heel flap, it could be a little bit cleaner, so I think I need to work out if I can pick the stitches up through the back loop and see if that works. But yeah, so another pair of socks. I think my next pair of socks probably gonna be not a plain one. I do like to vary the pleasures of my sock knitting. I'm not one to only knit vanilla sock. So yeah, we will see. Actually, I got a combo out just a moment ago for maybe colorwork socks, which I have not really done before, so that could be interesting. We'll see. And let's do finish up. Let's not do finish object because we've just done that. Let's do works in progress. First up in works in progress is a little update on the Gru sweater situation, Gru being grey and blue, as I've mentioned. I think it must have been a couple episodes ago now. I do have a fair amount of sweater quantities of yarn that are mostly grey and blue together as a two-color thing, or tweed or things, but it's grey and blue. So I've cast on the first one, and oh, hang on, how about that? How about I put it in the, this is it. So I've casted on an all brioche sweater, which is the Cavalcante from Rosa Pomar. So it looks fabulous on the picture, as in it's quite, you know, quite not very boxy, but you know, quite comfy, a little bit loose, and yeah, it looks fantastic. And I swatched and it was fine. I think the pattern calls for 3.75 needles, and I'm doing it in 3mm because this is what my swatch is, you know, worked. And but so I don't know, because this is very much my second brioche project. The first one was a shawl, which was not an all brioche shawl, it was just a section of brioche in the middle. So I don't know if it's the fact that my brioche is I'm getting more used to brioche a little bit more, so my tension tightens or something. But this is very small. I mean, I know brioche is gonna be blooming quite a bit and growing. It's not so much on the width that I'm bothered, it's on the length. I've already okay, I already did actually, do you know what, since I finished the body, here it goes for, there we are, totally not totally doesn't go with the skirt, but never mind. So yeah, as you can see, it's a bit cropped as it is, and I'm not too big on that. I'm not too fussed about, because I know I can block it, you know, width-wise to be a bit looser. But I need to see if I manage to block it down to make it sit a bit lower than what it is. So yeah, it's a bit too tight, too much of a tight fit for my liking at the minute. Jesus Christ, I'm hot. So yeah, and I did already had a few centimeters to the body compared to what the pattern is telling. So I'm not sure, I don't know. I'm a bit disenchanted about it at the minute. I mean, I love the look of it, this, you know, sort of stripy but not stripy, because it's all mingled in the brioche. So I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna, whew, that was some sport, that. Yeah, I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit. I'm gonna give it a good block on the body, and then reassess if I want to finish it or if I want to reuse the yarn for something else. I don't know. I think this combo could be a good shifty sweater by Andrea Mowry, or maybe one of Crazy Shawl, one of the Stephen West's Crazy Shawl, like Vertice Unite or whatever it's called, kind of thing. I don't know. Basically, I'm a bit like not too great. Just a roundup of the yarns. If you've not seen the episode when you just said, this is there's a lot of yarns in this. Lots of yarns. Lots of yarns, and loads of sheep. Most of it is Black Isle yarns, and we've got some the very light blue, grey blue, is a BFL Cheviot Lincoln and Hampshire blend dyed with hibiscus, and the two blues, okay, is Cheviot First Clip. The darker one is just dyed with indigo, and the other one is dyed with indigo, heather, gorse and rhubarb. And we've got the dark grey is Romney Dorset, Rambouillet and Jacob Churro, which is a yarn that my friend Jess of Ginger Twist Studio has brought me back from Oregon in the US. And the yellow is, guess who? John Arbon Textile. This is their Alpaca sock yarn, which I don't think this do anymore. I've bought this again of Jess of Ginger Twist Studio when she opened the shop many years ago. Yeah, one of my very first Ginger Twist Studio purchase. So yeah, so I do love the colors together. Right now I'm not a big fan of the sweater and the fit of it. Really, I'm a bit disenchanted about that. So yeah, I'm you know, I'll tell you more about it, maybe not now, but in a couple of months or something, once I've you know, maybe find some mojo for it again. So one not so great grew sweater leads to one that I absolutely adore right now, and there's not gonna be a problem about fit, I don't think, because we are talking The Weekender by Andrew Mowry. The Weekender, where's my little page? Well, basically it's a tent. Boxy sweater with drop sleeves, which is a go-to shape of sweater for me. And yeah, I casted it on because I'm using my hand-dyed yarn, Phileas Yarn, and I want it to be finished for Yarndale end of September, as I would like to wear it as my my Yarndale sweater, you know, as a sample, and I absolutely adore it. Look at this beautiful sweater. So I love it. I just love it. So I'm double stranding some yarn because that's the only way I could find gauge. Well, first of all, well, you know, start again. The original Weekender is knit with Brooklyn tweed, and it's a colorway that's quite tweeded, and I like that that aspect of it. So I thought I could double strand some yarn, and it's a worsted, so I thought I could double strand 2 fingering weights, but I didn't find gauge like that, so I had to double strand a double knit with a sock yarn. So the double knit is the grit. Sorry, it's all attached together, so it's not, I don't want to pull out too much. Can we see? Is Wanderlust DK, which is 100% blue fest Leicester, and the colorway is Palacio Real. And if you know my yarn, this is no introduction, everybody knows that colorway. This is so this is the Rambler yarn, which is 80% blue fest Leicester, 20% nylon, and this is the hot dog in Coney Island colorway, which needs no introduction because everybody loves this colorway, and so do I. And yeah, and I just love with a capital L how this is knitting up and how it looks. I'm not alternating the double knit, but I'm alternating the sock, the hot dog in Coney Island. So I mean, I don't think it actually is an issue. I don't think I need to do it, but I just want to make sure I don't have pulling in the speckles color. So and I think it's working out well. So I think I'm gonna lengthen the Weekender, the pattern, because she wears it a little bit cropped and not too big. So I think I'm gonna add about 5 centimeters to the body before I separate the sleeves. For the sleeves, the front and back. And to be honest, I'm about done with that. I've got only a few centimeters before I separate. So so yeah. I'm excited. This is knit. I knit it in I gauged it using 4.5 millimeters, which is quite lower than what she asked for. She asked for 5.5 millimeters. So, but even at 4.5, it actually knits really fast. So, so yeah, this is what I'm dead excited about. Last of my knitting works in progress, and I don't really want to show it to you because this is a shawl I am knitting for my sister, and but I know she watches the podcast, and her husband, my brother-in-law, is watching the podcast, although he's not a knitter. But she texted me the other day to tell me she went home and he was watching me on the telly, which was actually quite funny. So I did share a little bit on social media, but I don't want to share too much just in case she's watching this, and I want to keep a little bit of surprise for her as to what the the shawl actually is. I think I can tell you which colors I'm gonna use, which is actually again a very funny story. So my sister's birthday was last month in July, and typically I'm late for it, but this is what we do in this family. But I thought I wanted to knit her something. I have quite light yarns in my stash. My sister lives in Reunion Island, which is in the Indian Ocean, and although she's quite uphill, when it gets quite fresh, it's not fresh enough to wear thick sweaters or accessories, but yeah, like a nice little shawl is fine, or you know, a 4-ply top or a cardigan. So I did offer her the choices, like, what would you like me to knit? Would you like another shawl? She already has one that I've made of her, which she absolutely loves, which is good. Or a top, a tank top, or a t-shirt or something that I could, you know, I could use my stash for. And she's like, oh, I like a shawl. Can you do me a shawl? Okay, fine. Which color would you like? Thinking that she'd get back. I was like, oh, like in the pinks or the blues, you know. Her previous shawl is green, so I knew it wouldn't be that. But, you know, I thought she will be coming back with a category of color after which I could just, you know, raid my stash and find something. She came back to me and she basically shopped at my Etsy shop, and she's like, oh, I like fjord and I like leaf peeper, and she gave me like a whole bunch of colorways, and I just laughed. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh yeah, blue one. No, she picked the colors. But then, so I found a bit of like, oh, what do I do? So I'm doing a 2-color shawls. One color is being one of that she chose off my shop, and the other one is one that coordinates well, but that is from my stash, so that will win-win. I can show you the colors, I think. So this is a fjord on oh, look at this, it's shiny, love it. On the Wanderlust 4-ply, which is again 100% blue face luster, and the contrast color, which is from my stash, is this. This is La Bien-Aimée Merino Singles in the Amy's Sweater colorway, which I had bought at a friend's stash, Sarah. My friend Sarah's stash. Yeah. So I'm quite pleased about how it's knitting up. I will share with you one more thing about it, and that's because it's like a knitter's pride moment. This shawl is involves some brioche, and when I was in France, I took it with me so that I could work on the brioche. I thought, like, I need to get that brioche section done while I'm over there, and it's great, wonderful. And I'm sitting outside all by myself while mom and stepdad were having a nap after lunch. And then doggy came round and was a bit cuddly, and, you know, stood and put the paws in my lap, and then came down with the yarn and pulled the yarn, and had me dropped quite a lot of stitches in the middle of my brioche section. Dog. Nightmare. I spent about an hour fixing it, but I did fix it. And there is proof. There is proof that I am awesome and I can fix brioche pretty much okay. I mean, it's not great, but you know, it does the job. So there you go. That's all for that I can tell you about. I think that I can tell you. I can tell you a lot more about this shawl, but I want to keep it some element of surprise for when my sister receives it, and then I will make sure to take some images before I send it, and then I can show it to you and everything. And these are the projects that I've been really working on. The crochet work in progress, which I started working on my last episode after I went to the garter stitch retreat. I've not really touched it this past month since I did the last podcast, but I need to work on it because that's another one I would like to finish for Yarndale. I'm very confident by the week header being done. That crochet shawl, I'll keep you posted. Before I start on the details of my sewing the past few weeks, just put you in context. Obviously this is summer, and a couple of weeks ago I flew home to the south of France to spend a week with my family and visit my friends and things like that. So yeah, so I want to put it into the sewing section because I pretty much did a couple of summer basics, or just all-round basics. To be honest, I'm pretty much one to wear. I don't have a particular summer wardrobe and a winter wardrobe. I mean, there's a lot of things that I just wear year-round anyway, and some of these items will probably be the case, will be a year-round. But I did sew them. I've sewn them in the sort of summer basics and the summer wardrobe kind of thing, which I thought my week home in France will be a good sort of deadline to have, so I could pack it up. So so yeah, so before I start explaining to you what I've been sewing, which actually probably can tell I've had a change of outfit. It's not the same t-shirt, well, nearly not the same. I'll tell you a bit more about that. But yeah, so just a few images about a week in the south of France, in Marseille, in the summertime. I didn't spend a lot of time filming, to be honest. We didn't do much at all. It's been a week of relaxing and get fed by my mom and my dad and my stepdad, and just chillax and you know, cooling down, having a swim in the swimming pool and this kind of thing. So so yeah, but I thought I did film a few shots just to put you in the mood. So first up on my summer wardrobe, it's been a while since I wanted to make myself some jersey t-shirts, just plain ones, as you know, like proper wardrobe basics, because this is where I tend to wear the most. So I turn into my absolute favorite, I think you can tell it is now, my favorite top pattern, which is the So DIY Loo Box top. I do love this pattern. It comes with like many options for two different neck and a few different sort of hem options. I tend to do this one most often. I have done this one, the grey t-shirt that which was my other outfit, is this one, but I've mostly done this one without the pocket. And yeah, so I thought I would, first of all, I thought I would do like basic colors, like a black and a white, and I'm gonna start with the fail one, which is the white one. So I still have it. It's a fail for a few reasons. I've used a jersey fitted sheet, which I had at home, but I never use. I don't use it to put on my bed because it's a bit too small, and I thought it would be a good option for a jersey fabric. The problem is, to start with, it is very see-through. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but it is quite see-through. And the other thing is that I somehow managed to sew the wrong side of the back to the right side of the front, so it's obviously not looking too good. I mean, I know it's there. There's a couple of things I probably wasn't paying attention too much. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make a t-shirt, and just go too fast and not paying attention of what I was doing, instead of, you know, clearly marking the wrong side to the right side of the fabric and do it proper. And yeah, so the neckline is done with a bias binding, and you have the option to either fold the bias outside, on the outside, or on the inside. And for this one I decided I wanted it on the outside, but I you know, I didn't sew top stitch the this. You can tell how see-through it is actually compared to when it's folded with the sort of bias binding. But yeah, but basically that line of stitches there is not, it should be much lower, so it kind of like folds back and you can see everything. And actually I did try to cut the excess fabric that was picking out, so it wasn't great at all. It wasn't not a smart move. So this one, I don't know, I might, you know, I've not been there. I mean, I might just, you know, quickly finish the seam on the hem and the sleeves, and just maybe dye it and wear as a pajama or something like that. We will see what I want to do with that. I mean, I suppose if I do a second line of stitches on the hem, on the neckline, that might help as well. But anyway, so I just put this one aside, and I sewed myself the black one, which is here, so I can show you it when it's worn. So it's a very basic boxy t-shirt. Actually, how about I show you my face again? Actually, I did add a few inches to, or centimeters to the body length. I'm a little bit, sorry, I'm just reaching out for my little notebook for sewing. I'm a little above the average height for sewing patterns. When this is the very first version of the Loo Box, I believe it has been redone because she's quite a tall person, the designer, so DIY. So I believe she's regraded her pattern, actually starting to do it for tall people, and with options instead of you know, do it to the average height, and then everybody has to lengthen everything. It's quite the other way around, but I do have it in like for average height people, so I did add 2 inches to the pattern. So so now I just cut it, it's already there, and I already got the add-on to my flat. So it does fall nicely, kind of like mid hip, and it's a lovely wear. The only problem with this one, with the black one, is that the hem is tend to, you know, roll back in, like roll out. So it's just, you know, if it's been ironed just now, so it's fine, it sits fine, but eventually it will just pop back, and I need to readjust it. But to show you the details, I'm going to show you, so the fabric for this black one is, I had it in my stash for quite some time, but I'm pretty sure it comes from Boys, which is a line of store we've got in Yorkshire, and it's absolutely fantastic for haberdashery. And they do have some good fabric bargains now and then. It's quite good for that. So this one, I'm pretty sure is from Boys, but I've had it for such a long time, so I don't quite remember exactly what it is and how much it cost me. However, I did just after I finished this one, while I was sewing this one, I did pop into Boys, probably because I needed thread. Actually, for some reason I didn't have any black thread anymore. And I found this beautiful khaki green Ponte di Roma jersey fabric, and obviously green is one of my favorite color, and I do wear a lot of green, so I knew I had to get it because I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of this. It's a much heavier jersey than the one I'm wearing, which is quite basic, but it is lovely. So this is one actually for now, like proper summer. It's a little bit too heavy, but I think in mid-season it's gonna be absolutely lovely. And you can see that I've done the I've done my bias binding on the hem much cleaner on the black and green tops, much better than I did on the white ones. So yeah, so I'm really pleased with them 2 tops, really chuffed with them. It's the simple thing really, you know, just to know it's basic. You think it's like it's just a plain color t-shirt, but I know I'm gonna wear it loads, and you know, I'm just gonna be proud that I've, you know, made these pieces of my wardrobe, and you know, I know where it's coming from, and I know what I've done, and I know, you know, it's really good. It's a really good feeling. But anyway, this one there, so the latest one, Ponte di Roma, is actually turned out to be quite a wide width. It's wide. I think I managed, I think I asked for 1 meter and 50 centimeters. Usually if I do a top in a normal width, like a 115 centimeters kind of width, I'll just need a meter and 20, usually just over a meter, just to fit all the pieces, because it's quite boxy, so it's hard to fit, you know. I need to put the 2 pieces one after the other for the front and the back. And but yeah, but this one was so wide, I actually managed to fold the 2 sides into the middle and actually lay it out. So actually I have enough to make another one, which I might do with the little pocket, which I would embroider. Maybe that's in the cart. When am I gonna have the time to do that? God knows. But yeah, so this is really good. So yeah, and the fabric itself was quite cheap. It was do I have it somewhere? Yes, it was £6 a meter, and I used less than that. So I think this t-shirt pretty much cost me a £5, which is pretty good, which is very pretty good. The loop box top, it's super easy as well. I've done, and that is where I'm even more chuffed about, because I already got the pattern pieces cut, and I'm getting more and more confident in sewing things, and I'm using my friend Martha's tip as to use far less needles to hold the fabric together than I used to, so I don't spend as much time pinning things, not needles, pins, pinning things before I sew them and then removing pins. This literally took me 2 hours for each t-shirt to do, so that was quite nice. Going home after work, 2 hours on the sewing machine, and there you go, you've got a t-shirt to wear the day after, which is pretty cool. So yeah, and this is a very nice pattern because there's only really 3 pieces: the front, the back, and then the sort of band that will form the bias binding for your neckline. So this is cool, I really like it. And I am back in my former outfit, which actually the top is my loop box top number 4. I forgot to tell you, the black jersey top, I'm not counting the fail white one, but the black loop box top is number 8 in my collection, and the green one is number 9. So yeah, like I said, it is my favorite top pattern. So there you go. Next up, I've made myself a skirt, which I'm gonna start showing it to you, and then I'll tell you about it. So, you can see this is a paper bag style sort of fastening belt, I guess. So this pattern is the Miller shorts from a Seamwork magazine, the July 2019 magazine, which is quite recent. It's very rare when I'm actually doing something that just comes out. But yes, so Seamwork magazine, sorry, which is run by the people behind Colette Patterns, is a subscription sewing magazine. Every month you receive 2 patterns for a certain amount of money. I'm not too sure how much it is these days if you join just now. I have joined quite some time ago, so I know I only pay maybe £5 or £6 per month for my subscription, but I think it's a little bit more now if you join as a new subscriber. But yeah, so you get these 2 patterns. The pattern itself, so the Miller shorts, which is this pair of shorts here, you can buy as just, you know, outside the subscription, but as a subscriber I get to have some add-ons and some add-on pieces to hack the pattern that just released. And for the Miller shorts, they released the hack pieces to turn it into a skirt, which is pure laziness, because really it's not that hard to turn a piece like the leg pieces into a skirt piece. But I did that, and basically what you do is that you take, so that will be the, I didn't print the front pages for this, so so yeah, so this will be it. And so basically you just cut the 2, instead of cutting the leg pieces of the shorts, you just cut the adds-on for the skirt front and back, and then from the shorts pattern you cut the waistband, is the word I've been looking for since I started talking about it. The waistband, the belt and the pockets and all the bits and bobs that are just common to the both patterns. So yeah, I did a size 16, which is a little bit bigger than what I usually would go for. I would usually be a size 14, but I did choose a size 16 because I don't know if you can see from the shorts, it actually sits quite high on the hips, and I wanted mine to sit lower, so I thought I cut a size 16 so that it will be a little bit looser and it will come down on my hips a little bit more, which I'm really, yeah, instead of being kind of really on the waistline, it's down on my hips, which I do like better, and this is what I wanted to go for. So I did that, and I added 6 centimeters to the body of the skirt because, again, I wanted mine to sit just in a sort of around the knee. I think, what does it say? It sits just below the knee now. No, I don't know. What do you see? Not really. I may have to insert a little catwalk kind of thing. So yeah, 6 centimeters to the body of the skirt, and that's really all I did there. So it's pretty straightforward. No big sort of hacks. It's a pretty basic pattern, really easy to do. You know, it's fine. For the fabric, I've used Merchant and Mills. This is the ikat fabric, which they have called, the colors is called Mountain Sunrise. Ikat is the type of weaving techniques for this particular fabric, where I think they dye the thread before starting to weave, even on the I'm not very good at weaving, so I don't know if it's the weft or what the bits that, well, anyway, it's a technique of weaving, and it has to do with the at which stage the thread is dyed. It's, yeah, before the weaving and stuff. So yeah, it's quite a nice and light fabric. It's lovely. It's been great over the summer. It's very light to wear. I think it will do nicely in the mid-season as well with a pair of tights, even like a you know, like a pair of black tights, thick black tights. So it's gonna be quite nice to wear a little bit more as the days go cooler. I think that's all I have to tell you about it. Oh yeah, the fabric, sorry, the price of the fabric is £12 a meter, and I'm pretty sure I had 2 meters of this, or 2 meters or 1.5, I can't remember, but let's just cut the pieces in 2, and I think maybe I scored about £20 just for the fabric, and obviously my subscription. But then again, you know, this is half my subscription, so about maybe £2.50. So yeah, it's not too bad. So yeah, and so that was all I managed to do before I went to France, but that was fine, and I really enjoyed wearing all of this, especially the skirts got a lot of wear when I was at home. And when I came back, I did complement all of this with a final piece of sewing, which is a shapeless cardigan. So that is very bright on the camera. Is that the right? It's so shapeless I can't even tell the top from the bottom, but yes, so there we are. So it's quite nice actually if I got the sleeves up like that. It's very, very loose, very boxy, maybe a little bit too much, but you know, we can't complain considering where it comes from. I've got the pattern from one of my mom's sewing magazine, pattern magazine. It was a way back, I think it must have been, I don't know, was it this winter? Maybe back in February, or maybe last year, when I went home and I just decided to trace it there at my mom. So what I did, it doesn't have a name, and I can't even tell you which magazine it is. But basically what I did is I traced the pieces of the pattern at my mom's, and I just photocopied the instructions. So yeah, you can see just the picture that was in the magazine. It's black and white. So yeah, and the fabric is one that I got at from I'm gonna take it off because it's super hot, very hot. The fabric is from Fabworks Mill Shop, the website, and I was interested with the color. I do like this sort of burgundy Bordeaux color. But yeah, as you can see, that is actually it's a bit of a textured jersey. You know, the kind you have on polo shirts, you know, this rugby polo shirts, traditional, you know, the kind of old-fashioned ones. And I'm really not a big fan of this type of fabric, and I've never been into polo shirts actually, except for one that I had when I was a kid. That was the only one, but it's probably because it was just a cute sort of pattern. It was white with little hearts in this mint green color, and that was the only one that I could really tolerate. I'm a bit traumatized with polo shirts. So when I received this fabric, and that was ages ago, honestly, it was a good maybe 3-4 years ago that I've got this fabric in my stash. I was a bit underwhelmed that it was not just a plain jersey. So yeah, it sat there for a while, and when I was at my mom's and I saw this pattern, I thought, you know, actually I'll just probably, you know, for what it is, for just a shapeless cardigan that might just not, you know, end up looking at anything. I might just do it in this fabric, which is lying around. I don't know what to do with it. So I did that, and it's pretty good actually. I think I'm gonna wear it. I'm actually you know, I was so expecting it to be turning into a big pile of poo that I just I'm just quite chuffed about how it turns out. So I can't even tell you which size I've done, no idea. Probably a size M, but what do I need to tell you about it? So yeah, so the back piece is is cut on the fold, but after I sewn the fronts to it, I just quickly, you know, put it on, and it was really wide. It was just oddly shaped. The back was just too big. So what I did, I just added a seam to it, and I just did it like a 2 centimeter seam allowance. I just folded my back, and I just, you know, sewn with 2 centimeter seam allowance, and then I just cut in the middle of this seam allowance, which was folded, and then I just cleaned the stitches, which I will get back to because I never do that usually. So yeah, and that did help. So I think between taking some of the fabric off and maybe the seam giving a little bit of a, you know, consolidate a little bit on the structure, I think it did help quite a bit. And the other thing that I did is that I'm not too sure. I mean, if you look at the sort of drawing here, it's just not very clear where the sort of neckband goes to, because on the picture it looks like it goes way back, and it's not like there's any corner. On this one, it's very much like a curve thing. So I wasn't too sure when they were telling, because obviously that's the only piece that's not traced. It's one that tells you need to do 12 centimeters wide and 10 centimeters less than blah blah blah, and it was very confusing. The instructions were absolutely super confusing. It's in half a page. There's a lot of words. There's hardly any punctuation whatsoever, so it's very hard to read. Obviously it's in French, so being my mom's magazine. So I kind of like winged it as I sewed along, which wasn't hard. But so basically for cutting this, I pretty much did a band that was 12 centimeters wide, but that, or 2 bands as required, but that was just running the whole length of the fabric, and then I kind of like, you know, winged it as I pinned it or something, or actually I think I measured, eventually I managed to measure the whole circumference of the cardigan, and I just, you know, took a little bit less of that, and then and it seemed to fit. Total improvisation. But yeah, so I've just decided that because as it was a little bit short, so I decided to run the entire sort of collar band thing, that all the way around the cardigan, which is nice. And I think I've done a half a decent job, actually. It's pretty good on my seams. So yeah, so it wasn't too bad. That was the endless sewing though experience. But yeah, so I don't know if you've noticed in my loop box top, actually I'm gonna take it back just to show you. I only have a sewing machine. I do not have another locker, so so far I've been very lazy and never finish my seams. Here I've done a bit of prinking shears, but I'm pretty sure that in some, yeah, see, it's pretty, this is never not finished. And to be honest, in this sweater, which I have made a couple of years ago now, and I've worn quite a lot, the fabric doesn't move. So it's really, I mean, I'm not, how much, you know, however much in knitting I do like a clean finish. In my sewing, you know, if it's inside, if nobody sees it, if it's just me, I really don't care. So so yeah, so like on the loop box top, I just, you know, I really couldn't care less that the seams are not finished. It's not moving. This has been in the washing machine a good couple of times already in my usual wash, so it's fine. But yeah, on this fabric I seem to have found a way to do a sort of decent zigzag. I'm not very good friend with zigzag stitch as well, but on this one it seems to be not half bad. So so yeah, and I think that was pretty good. I actually need to finish the seam on another cardigan that I have that I'm actually because yeah, it's a bit more visible because the cardigan, you know, because it's going to be open and a bit more visible. So so yeah, so I finished that with a zigzag stitch. Just going to show you there on the, so it's not half bad, but it's just two. But then again, that was a quick sew, and it's gonna be lovely, I think, to wear when the weather is gonna be a little bit cooler. Yeah, it's just this weekend it's just so hot, so nothing gets on. So yeah, so I believe that's it. So that's not too bad. 2 t-shirts, a skirt and a cardigan. Now I'm gearing up to actually have this sort of reflection about my next season sewing, thinking of like try to keep it together and sort of outfit and things that would go together. It's kind of nice, and especially to try to integrate it with my knitwear as well. So so yeah, so many ideas, so many things I want to do, so little time. So yeah. And with this, I'm gonna leave you until next time, which will be in more or less a month, probably a little bit more than a month actually. It's end of September and early October is gonna be quite busy, so so we'll see, but hopefully I have something very exciting to present to you next time, something special. So yeah, so like I said earlier in this episode, Please feel free to comment, to leave me a little like or a little thumbs up. Do subscribe if you want to catch up with this next episode whenever it comes out. And I hope you're having a lovely end of summer. And I hope you're looking forward to all your autumn makes, and you're making all the little plans and everything. So happy making, and see you soon.